Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gamer Grudge, where we have the best quality assurance team ever. That's why we let two AIs run the entire business here. And speaking of AIs, I am joined as always by Andrew Interactive. Andrew, why don't you say what's up?
Beep boop bop beep.
And I'm also joined by our Kevin's Logistical Operations Unit. So, Kevin, why don't you say hi?
You know it's bad when we have a better quality assurance team over here.
Oh, definitely. But speaking of quality assurance, today we're going to be talking about PlayStation and why their quality assurance team needs to step things up a little bit and why it should have been that way all along. So let's go ahead and roll the intro for it. All right, so today we have an article that Kalo decided to gift us that is all about PlayStation, and it's from IGN saying that the PlayStation boss says the company now does much more rigorous and more frequent testing after Concord's failure. We all know what a failure Concord was. It happened at the beginning of whatever year. It was since September last year, I think. And it got shut down after 2 weeks. It was the most abysmal failure in all of gaming history outside of like maybe that game called Brink that nobody ever talks about.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, I went
I forgot
deep,
about break.
deep into the bag for that one. But specifically in the article, though, it says that Concord was not a cheap failure. Analysts estimated that Sony spent around $250 million on the game, and it sold so poorly that it was shut down approximately 2 weeks after launch, and it also shuttered the developer, which was Firewalk Studios. And now, speaking to the PlayStation boss here, they said specifically, we have since put in place much more rigorous and more frequent testing in very many different ways. And that the advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary that oversight is. So, Kevin, what do you have to say about it?
It just seems like everyone in gaming is playing Rage Bait Simulator with me this week with all these gaming headlines. I I've been a very strong proponent of PlayStation has been an absolute donut, so to speak, and I'm going to avoid using the bleep button today. But they've been an absolute donut with this whole live service push. 12 games, I'd say out of every single one of them, Helldivers 2 is the best one. We got cancellations, we got delays, we got studio closures, and now, a year removed from Concord, they're finally waking up to fix things? Oh, this is bad, y'all. This is very bad.
Well, you know, PlayStation has a massive push towards live service titles. They always have, or not really always have, they've had a lot of single player titles that did amazingly well. And then for some reason, after the success of like Destiny 2, they were like, everything needs to be live service. Absolutely everything. And so that's why we had things like Concord. And then they also talked about doing a game for, like a live service game for The Last of Us at one point that they ultimately didn't continue with. Instead, we just got like a million sequels for it, or not even sequels, just remakes for it. And then they also talked about the possibility of doing a live service game for Horizon Zero Dawn, which they ultimately canceled as well, which thank God they did that. But speaking to multiple studio heads, the IGN article says the Financial Times stated, if we're heading towards a giant landmine like there's another studio making exactly the same game, that's good information. So, Andrew, what do you have to say about this?
Well, as AI video game Gordon Ramsay said, it's just you figured the QA and the testing of the general populace, they wouldn't want live service. You just instead of just assuming based off the results of one game, you would test the waters in the audience and see like, hey, is live service the direction we need to go for every single video game? And then every failure, we just shut down a studio instead of look at the problem?
Yes, that's exactly what you do. You take a shot in the dark, hope that it succeeds, and when it doesn't, you ultimately ruin the lives of many people who worked on the game. That's what you do. That is business, baby.
No,
And
you
I
spend
mean,
more money on more studios and more live service games.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
another one's going to hit eventually. That's what you do,
Exactly.
obviously.
You take a full fistful of darts, throw them at the wall, and eventually one of them has to hit. You know, that's how it works. But Kevin, we have talked about the game before. We've talked about Concord, but there's a future game that we've talked about as well that could be the second Concord, which is Marathon. Do you see Sony learning their lesson and actually doing something important with Marathon, like changing it for the better, or is it just going to be an ultimate flop?
All right, so to put numbers out there, because Herman Holtz, you son of a gun, I'll tell you what. Whenever he's like, "Oh, I want people to fail early and fail cheap," Concord, just for numbers' sake, cost Sony around $250 million, sold horribly. I had 900 subscribers at the time on YouTube, and I had more subscribers on YouTube than they had concurrent players, which is definitely damning for a small YouTube channel to beat out a PlayStation first party game. But I digress. Getting back to Marathon here. I am so worried for that game specifically because one, it's coming from one of my favorite studios in Bungie. I have a long history with Halo, and I know they can be a great studio. But I don't think at this point in time, no delay they could do right now will save that game. Whenever we do see it again, I think it's coming out in March of 2026. It's not going to be a different game. We're still going to see the same exact game that we've seen that was supposed to come out in September. That is not enough time to fundamentally root out the game and change what it is at its core. And it's just too late. That game's done. That game's cooked. And if I am the people making fair games, if I am any other studio on a live service game right now under PlayStation, I am severely worried that my game will fail and I will be closed down shortly after, if not hit by layoffs.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to just turn things on its head a little bit here with because you keep talking about Sony specifically, and you know what? Sure, yes, bury Sony, whatever. The Sony soy boys will accept it, yada yada yada. That or they'll just rage bait in the comments. But let's go ahead and talk about Xbox though, because Xbox has a similar thing here. I mean, don't you remember their lovely vampire game that did so
Redfall.
incredibly well? Yes, Redfall, that ended up getting another studio shuttered as well. I mean, Andrew, you remember that game, don't you? It did so amazingly.
Does not compute.
Oh, okay.
I can
Memory
speak to this.
storage blanked.
This is the problem with gaming overall, and I hate to be the person that gets on the soapbox, but it's all these corporations chasing what Fortnite did by being these massive live service games that do collaborations, that do the X, Y, and Z. And it's like them seeing the recipe and being like, oh, I can just copy that and make it our own. And it's obviously going to sell a lot of money, or it's going to sell a lot of copies and make a lot of money. That's just simply not the case. And Xbox has done a lot worse with like the closure of Tango Gameworks and all the downsizing they did post Activision Blizzard merger, which again, didn't think that was needed, but they went out and did it anyway. But yeah, like this is just all top-down stuff, all the top-down problems of we need you to make this Fortnite. We need you to make a Roblox that gets a lot of money and gets a lot of players. Studios can't just pull that out of thin air. Like they got to build it from the ground up and make it individual, and they're not doing that. That's why they all suck.
Yeah, they aren't making an individual. You are completely correct there. But you know what? I'm going to turn to Andrew for one last thing here because we talked about another game that could potentially be the next Concord as well before Marathon, and that is Black Ops 7. Now, we recently learned that Black Ops 7 is not going to be getting any of the skins that Black Ops 6 is, but people are still hating on it, even though they're turning towards a more realistic thing with at least the multiplayer. And yeah, the trailer, as many people have stated, has made them want to pre-order Battlefield 6 instead. So, Andrew, what makes you think that Black Ops 7 is going to be the next Concord?
Well, again, memory does not compute. Concord, what? Who? Doesn't remember being swiped. But, I believe them. They're just not going to have the same skins as Black Ops 6 because that was 90s theme. And they're going to go totally in a different, totally real and hyper-realistic version of skins and gameplay. It's going to be like 2000s or something. I don't know. It's going to be a different type of bullshit, slushy weird animated skin Fortnite ripoff, which also Fortnite has done so much damage to the gaming industry that you can do a whole nother video about it. It's just vomit, puke, trash, and bullshit. And data found in the memory banks from the wipe. We are sorry, Concord. You are not as bad as Battlefield 7. I don't know where that came from. Weird.
Not as bad as Battlefield 7, huh? I think you mean Black Ops 7. Clearly, our AI needs some work.
I'm having problems with trying to process this thing.
But if you would like to help us get our AIs back up and running and functioning properly, you can just hit the little subscribe button down there. It goes a long way for us. You could also give this video a nice little like, and maybe join us on our Discord if you'd like to chat more about gaming. But this has been all the information that you possibly need, and plus some extra for the downfall of what Sony's live service sector is going to be, and why they should have been paying attention to their quality assurance a lot closer all along. But I have been Aiden. I've been joined by Andrew Interactive and RKLO Logisticals Operations Unit, and we shall bid you all adieu.
I need a virus scan after talking about all these trash ass games.